What is up, y'all? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit more serious. I guess I would say it's something I kind of want to talk about with you guys, and it's being gay and living in a small town. If you guys don't know, I am from Radcliffe, Kentucky, super small town. Everybody knows everybody. It's like that quintessential like small ass town. You know what I mean? Where everyone knows everyone. Everyone knows everyone's business. It's just like that. You know what I mean? And now currently I live in another small town with my boyfriend who I moved to Brandenburg, Kentucky, which is like another small town. You know, he grew up here. He said everybody knows everybody, you know, and I just see that too by living here for the year that I've lived here. I've lived here. But I kind of want to talk about just my experience of like how I have handled it and how I've like kind of like navigated through it. And it's kind of just it was harder growing up like in middle school and high school, of course. Like I've talked about it before in videos. Like I've gotten talked about, bullied, went through that whole thing of people, you know, talking about me for just being who I was and just being the person that I was born, you know. Dealt with it my whole life. Dealt with the literally, you guys, I haven't called any name in the book that you can think of when it comes to anything derogatory towards like me being gay. Literally, I've heard it all, been called it all. That is what came with it. You know what I mean? And not to say that it was right, not to say that it didn't affect me, because it did. It, you know, there would be times where I would come home, I would cry, I would be, you know, hurt. I went through the whole shit, you know, and it was rough, you know. But I had mama, grandma around me, my mom. I had people that I looked up to that just, it made it, I was okay. You know, I wasn't always okay, but I was okay, if that makes sense, you know, because there were times where I was depressed. There were times where I just didn't understand why people were making fun of me for being who I was, or why it was always me that felt like I was getting picked on, or for just being me. Y'all, I remember this one time too. This is like not the point of the video, but I remember this one time we each had, this was like 7th or 8th grade, we each had all gotten planners. And me being gay, I wrote all over my planner, like, I heart Chris Brown, like, all over the planner. And I remember this one day I had dropped it in school or something, and somebody had, like, found it. And I remember we were all, like, standing around in, like, a circle, and it had dropped, and people, like, this boy had picked it up. He was, like, reading it, looking all over it, like, so basically I got clowned for it, you know? So that's just, like, a little side preference of the shit that I would go through, you know. And I'll never forget that. Like, he went around showing everybody, oh, well, look what it says, like doing the absolute fucking most, you know. And I was just like, can't I heart Chris Brown without you having to fucking like make a whole commotion about it anyways. So it was just shit like that I like dealt with, you know what I mean? And like I said, it wasn't easy growing up, especially like in a small town, because I feel like people are so close-minded. I feel like people aren't as up-to-date as other cities, or, you know, it's not as diverse as other cities. That's the perfect word I was looking for, you know. It just, growing up where I grew up, it just was not diverse. There wasn't any really chance for you to like be comfortable with being yourself, or if you were yourself, you were either to get made fun of for it, or you had to hide it, or in my case, you hid it, you know. And it shouldn't be like that. I wish, like, of course it's different now. Like, I am so happy with who I am now. I'm so out, and those were like years ago, you know, those were when I was growing up. But I wish, and it is kind of, it is different now. I will say the times have definitely changed, and it's definitely evolved a lot. Definitely than when it was when I was growing up and when I was coming up, you know, as a young, like, gay man. Like, it just wasn't as accepting as it is now, which I'm so thankful for, and I'm so glad that the times are different, and I'm glad that people are able to come out now and be who they truly are, and they're not as afraid, or, you know, they have more support around them than it was growing back then, you know? Not just for me, I'm speaking for, like, all of us back then when we were coming up and we were figuring out who we were. It was just such a different time than it is now, you know? And that's like, we should all be grateful for that. Like, it's not something that I'm like nagging on, you know, if that makes sense. But it was hard. Like, people weren't as accepting. People, you got made fun of for being gay. You got made fun of for, dressing a certain way. You got made fun of for just being who you were. Like, I seen that. Even if it wasn't for me, people that were out back then, they got hell for it, and it was fucking bullshit. And it was just, it also made other people that weren't out yet, it made them scared, because it's like, damn, you see what this person's going through, and nobody's kind of stopping them. And so it's like, you kind of hide, in a sense, you're hiding who you are, because you're like, damn, I don't want to get that same treatment, which is fucked up. And it's like, that mindset, that mentality is like, so because of the stigma that has been on like the gay community and just the LGBTQ plus community in general. Like, there's always has been that stigma like around us, and whatever the stigma is, people have, there's always just been that stigma. And I hate that. Sorry, y'all, I need to I keep, sorry, y'all, I also got into a car wreck, which it is healing, but y'all will see that in a video before this. But it is just so, it just was fucked up back then, that just mentality of like, you didn't want to say anything, you didn't want to come out and be who you are, because you're so scared of like the backlash from it almost. And it's just not like that anymore. I'm just so glad that it's not. I'm glad that people are able to just come out and be who they are, and to just be comfortable, and they have support around them. Like, I remember, like I said, just getting fucking picked on. I mean, not to say people don't go through that now, but it's like, it just was harder, especially, and then being in a small town too, it's like, there's no room for almost like you to be, there's no like almost no acceptance for you, because there's like, you almost feel like there's nobody else in your town like you, or if there is, again, they're hiding who they are, they're getting made fun of for it every single day, they're getting picked on for it. So it's like, being in a small town, it's harder to almost come out and just be who you are, and because you almost just feel like there's no one around you that's like you. So of course it makes it harder for you to want to even come out, and to want to like show everybody who you are, and to tell the world like just who you fucking are, and comment down below if you guys feel, or if you're in a small town too, and you might have felt this way like growing up, or when you were figuring out who you are. It was definitely harder in a smaller town than maybe versus when you got away and moved into a bigger town, or you moved away from your small town, that you were able to come out to be, it was more comfortable. You just seen it was more accepting in different cities and bigger towns than it is when you in these small house towns, and also too, it's just like, when you look around, you don't see there's much support, or when you look around, you don't see like there's anything like that's encourages you to be who you are. You're just kind of like, you're on the fence about it, because you don't want to face any backlash. You don't want anybody to like judge you for it, or that's the thing, people don't want to be judged. And again, I'm so glad it's way different than it is now. It's so more accepting being gay, and being a part of the LGBTQ plus community. It's so much more accepting, and it's just kind of like everywhere now, which I fucking love, because it's just like, we should be accepted. We are human beings at the end of the day. It doesn't matter who we decided to lay down with at night. It's like, judge me for who I am, not who I decide to marry, you know what I mean? Or not who I decide to be with. Like, that should be the furthest thing from someone's mind when they're coming to meet me, or coming to meet anybody in general. You should we're all fucking human beings. Like, at the end of the day, like, there should be no, I don't even know what I was gonna say. I lost my train of thought. But I don't know. It's just being in a small town too. It did make it harder. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you guys it wasn't harder to be who I am, or to, because when I came out after high school, after graduation, like that summer of graduation. So it took me a while, and everybody's journey is different. Again, I will say that, just because you guys, and I'm telling you this in my video, like, I'm not telling you to go out there and just tell the whole world now. Everybody's time is different, and everyone's timing is different. Everyone's story is different. My story is going to be different than your story. Your story is going to be different than my story. It's just like, everybody's journey is going to be different when they're figuring out who they are. But it's just like, it was just harder being in a small town. If you know what it's like to live in a small town, everybody knows everybody's business. Everyone is always gossiping. There's always like some tea being spilled about the next person. So it's just like, if you know what it's like to live in a small town, then you know what it's like to want to keep things private, being afraid to come out and be who you are. And it's just like, you know, when you're in that, like, and when you've lived in a small town for so long, like me, I've always lived in a small town since I, you know, forever. And I'm about to be 29 this year. So it's like, for my whole entire existence, I've lived in a small town. So I know what it's like to, you know, feel uncomfortable with coming out, with wanting to be who you are, and feeling like, you know, everyone's going to know the next day, or, you know, I had to be very wary of that. There was a lot of like living in fear almost of, you know, someone like truly finding out, or if I was talking to like another boy that wasn't out yet, you know, I would always live in fear of like, oh my God, people are going to find out. People are going to like, it was like a paranoia almost as time went on, of like having to just hide that, you know what I mean? And to hide who I truly was. Like, it was so, or when people would ask, always having to deny it, or not that it was any of their fucking business anyways, because they shouldn't have been worried about it, do you? But, you know, it was always just like that. So when I finally was able to, when I did come out, it was just like a weight kind of lifted off my shoulders, and I was able to fully, truly live in my truth of who I am, and you know, what I was, who I always been, you know, and which was a fucking butterfly. No, but seriously, it was just like a weight off my shoulders. It was just like able for me to, you know, truly just live in my truth, and to truly just be fucking authentically myself. So yes, I went through like the judgment and all of that, and the getting made fun of, and people questioning, and people talking about me, and people making up the rumors about me, or, you know, whatever they felt like they needed to do to make themselves feel better. Because at the end of the day, when people make up rumors about you and talk about you and pick on you, they're insecure with their own stuff. They're dealing with their own shit, you know, and it has nothing to do with you. They're just taking it out on you because they're miserable, you know. Trust me, I've been miserable before. I've been in that. I'm currently working through that, people. But it's just, I would always tell like anybody out there that is still figuring out who they are, like, your timing is your timing, and don't ever let anybody rush you. Don't ever let anybody tell you like who you are. And like, if people around you will love, the people that are meant to be around you will be around you for a reason, and the people that aren't, they'll trickle off because they just don't matter. You know, they aren't meant to be around you. They aren't meant to grow with you in your journey of figuring out who you are and discovering who you are as a human. And that's really what I would tell anybody that is like younger that might see this video, or anybody out there that is just struggling with being who they are now, like, or trying to just figure out who they are. Like, it's not easy. Trust me, I know it's not. Like, I know what it's like, and you can overcome it. I promise you. Like, there are going to be, you have to figure out and love yourself first, and you have to figure out who you are, and then the right people that are meant to be around you will come around you and stay for a reason. You know, they'll love you for yourself, for your true self. You know, but being in a small town and figuring out who you are, it's not easy because, like I said, again, you deal with like the judgment, you deal with like having to worry about, is your parents going to find out, or just little paranoias like that. For me personally, and somebody out there that lives in a small town, you might also know where I'm coming from. It's just like you always kind of are living in that constant like fear, or that state of fear of like, is someone gonna know? Is someone not gonna know? Like, are they gonna find out? And after a while, just kind of, it got to a point to where I was just like, you know what, I'm fucking sick of this. I'm gonna be who I am, and I'm gonna date boys, okay? And whoever has something to say about that, oh fucking well. I still get looks today by, you know, because I like to wear purses sometimes. Like, it comes with it, you know. And even now, sometimes I'll just be like, why does it matter, you know, if I'm wearing a purse or not? You shouldn't have to stare that damn hard, okay, honey? But it comes with it, you know, and you can't help how people are going to react. You can't help what people are going to say. There's like kind of no way around that. But you just, at the end of the day, you just have to be who you are. You have to stand in that. You have to be truly just, sorry if I keep looking over there. I'm looking at like my window. It's like raining out right now. But, the lighting is also being weird. So I don't know how this video might look. I do apologize for the quality. I'm trying to get a ring light. I need to order one. But I just wanted to make this video because I just felt like I've always wanted to talk about what it was like being gay and being in a small town. Especially like even my high school, for instance, like it just wasn't the easiest to come out and it wasn't the easiest to be yourself in because people would fucking talk so much shit that would judge you. Like I would have to be in a fight every day if I was gonna come out then, literally. The people that were out then got made fun of, it just wasn't the right, my environment wasn't the right time, I felt like, for me to come out and to be vulnerable with people, especially not in my high school. Like there was no, I would have been fighting every single day if that was the case, if I decided to come out, like say freshman year, and it sucks, and it was like, it was hard, but it would have been even harder then, because I just would have felt like I would have been fucking knuckling up every single day with these motherfuckers, but just because people were ignorant, and it just was a different time back then in like 2011, and 2012, like it just was a different time back then, kind of, and it doesn't seem that long ago, but it was just a different time, especially with being in the LGBTQ plus community, especially a male. We get it harder than the females sometimes, That's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. But and I mean that not in a way of like, I feel like when you're a gay male coming up, you get judged harder than it is when you're a female. That's just my opinion, not in like we all get judged, not to say like females don't either, but it was harder, especially back then, for a male to come out, and then it was kind of for a female, because I feel like, males think that shit's hot, when two females, but y'all know what I mean. But yeah, I'm definitely happy the person that I am today, the 28-year-old. I'm a proud gay male, and I am happy, and I will always stand in that, and I will always speak up for my community and stand for what's right, and allow people to be who they are. And I went through the judgment, I went through all of that, but it made me who I am. And I would, even being from a small town, it made me have to be okay with being who I am, because being in a small town is not easy, and it's such like closed-minded, so it also helped me in a sense, being from a small town and having to be okay with being who the fuck I am, and standing in that and not wavering from that, you know what I mean? No matter what people say, what people might feel about me, or, what the clothes I decide to wear sometimes, or whatever the case may be, I am who I am, and I will always stand in that, and I will always want that for you guys, or anybody that watches my videos, or anything like that. Always be who you are, no matter what anybody has to say. But yeah, being in a small town and being gay wasn't easy. It made me who I am, though, and it made me just love me even more, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's really how I feel about that. And I would tell anybody out there that is in a small town, that is, currently lives in a small town, get the fuck away, for one. I'm just kidding. Even me, get the fuck away. But no, seriously, love who you are no matter what. And the people that are meant to be around you will be around you, will love you for who you are unconditionally. I love you guys so much. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I've been wanting to do this video and talk about this for a while with you guys, because I felt like it was just important and much needed to do so. I need to speak about that with y'all. But no, seriously, I love you guys so much. I hope you guys like this video. Like always, like, comment, subscribe to my channel. I am back posting again. I'm back, baby. So I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.